Real Geeks, we are all about making agents more successful. And we know that speed to lead is absolutely paramount for our customers, but we also know that you can't work 24 hours a day, 24/7. So GeekAI is a technology that addresses that problem. And so I've got a couple of guests here with me today to talk about this. Brendan, product manager here at Real Geeks, and Joe, Real Geeks customer. And so let's just go around and do some introductions real fast. Joe, why don't you head us off?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Joe Bornstein, broker and owner of Rock Springs Realty, based in Apopka, Florida, basically a suburb of Orlando. Been licensed 26 years, do this full time, 7 days a week. Relatively small boutique office, but I think pretty successful with what I've been able to do and very satisfied with the relationship I've had for quite a few years since 2015 with Real Geeks and look forward to many, many more years of it.
Sounds great. All right, Brendan, who are you?
Hey, I'm Brendan. I'm a product manager with Real Geeks and working with our Geek AI product, our artificial intelligence texting service that we offer through our CRM for our clients.
Sounds good. Well, that's exactly what I wanted to hear about next, which is tell us what Geek AI is. I don't know if you want to say any more than you just did.
Yeah, definitely can expand on that. So it's our artificial intelligence. It's designed named Robin to just communicate with leads as they sign up on your website to kind of take some of that heavy lifting off of the plate of the agent. The way that it works is it's going to communicate to try to engage for up to 12 months. So even if this lead never responds to you, we're going to spend a year trying to convince them to start that conversation. And once the conversation's flowing, we're using some behavioral metrics, looking at their responses to gauge where we're going to go next into that conversation. Ultimate goal is to get them scheduling an appointment, booking time to connect with and talk with the assigned agent. And we're seeing about a 54% response rate right now, with about a 3% appointment set rate across the board. So we're seeing what we think is pretty good success so far with this product, and just wanted to, kind of showcase where it has opportunities to continue improving.
Sounds great. All right, well, let's dial back here a little bit, and we'll talk to Joe and learn a little bit about your business. So maybe talk to us about, like, in the last 6 months, what sort of challenges have you had with booking appointments?
Okay, thanks so much. I think the biggest challenge any realtor has is time. We've only got so much time to be able to make phone calls, work leads, work transactions that are already in progress, make sure they stay on track, all the other things that we have to deal with. But the market is changing. We've been through some very unprecedented times with COVID, and now we're coming out of it. And now we're starting to see a softening of the market itself. So um, we don't know what the exact future is going to bring, but again, I need to be able to have a pipeline, and that pipeline's got to be filled with hot, warm, and cold leads. And I've got to continue to, work them. I tell my agents that we're farmers, and we've got to continue to plant seeds today for our crops tomorrow. And if we don't water them and nurture them and take care of them, we may have 8 closings this month. But if we don't do our jobs in preparing for next month and the month after, today, in the midst of having all this chaos that's going on, and getting these deals closed, we're going to be starving. We're not going to have any crops to harvest down the road. So we've got to continue to build the pipeline and to be able to keep it filled and nurture it.
I love it. So as you think about, like, building that pipeline and talking to these leads, what would you say, like, maybe the top three challenges are that you face with, like, contacting those leads, doing the qualification? Like, what sort of challenges do you face in those early stages?
Well, we're in a changing world and a changing environment. I mean, you know, how many people answer their phone today? You look at what's going on with robocalls and spam, and I think we've seen a lot of people just shy away. So I'm an old guy, and I'm used to dialing for dollars and having conversations. Well, I still love that, and I think there's a lot of people who will engage you. I think there's a lot who that's not what their culture and comfort level is. You look at the Gen Xers out there right now, their communication. They think a great conversation is a text exchange. I really don't. But if that's the way that they feel comfortable in communicating, then I'm going to figure out what I've got to do to be able to communicate at their comfort level to be effective at my job. And that's, generating leads, qualifying leads, and be able to take them to the next level.
Yeah, you already started talking about this, but what tools have you put in place to help overcome some of those challenges?
Well, again, I think, and my website and spending time to develop it out with strong content, informative content is a good foundation. There's one thing I continue to just be very proud of, and that's my testimonials and my reviews. And I've built very specific pages on my website where I'm highlighting either verbiage, the testimonial review itself, but more importantly, the actual pictures at closing. I'm taking pictures of sellers who are holding up sold signs and buyers holding up keys. And I tell my customers, my new customers, if somebody's willing to send me a testimonial after closing, let me take their picture and then post it up on my website and on my social media. I probably did something right. So I want to use that to help add some confidence to new customers, to let them know that we offer a quality level of service that hopefully they'll be able to recognize and put to use to their advantage.
Excellent. One of the things you mentioned earlier that I wanted to drill into a little bit is you talked about farming. And so, maybe give us, 2 minutes on, how are you using your CRM to, stay on top of these potential clients?
Oh, Chris, you know all the right questions, but I love it. And you guys have designed a great CRM. I've been through many different website companies that provided technology solutions. But one of the best things that I use to farm my database is figuring out who's active on the website. And it constantly, the CRM will update me. I can go in and search for who's actively searching, who's saving. And that is one of the best things because it's just so convenient when you make a phone call or you reach out with a text and you say, "Hey, this is Joe with Rock Springs Realty. I just wanted to check in." They've been active on the site. They're searching or they're saving.
Right.
And they're like, "Wow, I was just on your website." It's one of the greatest assets I've got because it gives me the ability to connect. I can't stay on top of the thousands of prospects I've got at different levels in my database, but having the CRM be able to guide me to where the low-hanging fruit is, it's much easier to be able to convert somebody I know is active than somebody who hasn't been on the site in 3 months or 6 months and I know is teed up more in gear, looking to do something than somebody who hasn't. So the back end of the system is very effective for me. I
Excellent.
also, not to jump in, not to keep going, but again, I've populated all my drip campaigns for the buyers and the sellers, and I let the system work for me. I don't need to try to go through my database every month hitting thousands of people, but I'm going to let the system work when I've got a hit, when I've got an engagement, when I've got people who are active. The system tells me who I need to really be focusing on. Those are the
That's
ones
right.
at the end of the day who are going to get me to a conversion and get me to a closing.
That's right. Yeah, I love it. That is. I mean, like we probably couldn't have put together the pitch for why you want a CRM and why you want a CRM that's connected to your website any better than what you just outlined. That's like exactly the magic that we want people to experience. But anyway, moving up funnel a little bit, you were one of our early adopters and power users of GeekAI, and so maybe before we go into the specifics, before you were a GeekAI customer, had you heard of like AI autoresponders or AI? Like, what was your impressions of that world?
Yeah, I've heard of it, and I've been on Home Depot, and I'm trying to think of some of the other. UPS has an
Yep,
AI and a bot that'll engage with you, and I think people are definitely becoming more and more aware of it, and I think that as the technology evolves and machine learning, I think that they're going to continue to get better. But my perception was, yeah, will this work? I don't know. But anything that I can put in place that's cost effective, that'll help me qualify prospects, because my most valuable commodity or asset, however you want to look at it, is time. And I just don't have enough of it. I've been very blessed. I've been very successful in this business, and I want to keep doing it as long as I can. But I only have so much time, and that's my biggest drawback. That's my biggest weight that I've got pulling against me, is figuring out how to be effective with the time that I've got, and being able to focus on the quality that's going to get me to the closing table.
Excellent. And how has your experience with Robin Geek AI been?
Okay, great question. I mean, thank you as well for both of you for allowing me to be part of the beta program. It was a great experience learning about what you had done with the initial development, and then how you continue to tweak and evolve her. And overall, the experience has been phenomenal, because no matter where I am, I'm sitting in the office like I am now, or I'm in my car at an appointment. I'm getting emails, I'm getting texts. I know what Robin's doing, and I know when I've got somebody at the point of engagement, or she's doing a pass off, then you know I didn't have to really do anything. All I had to do was set her, make sure she was set up, make sure the new lead is started, and all of a sudden, when she is engaging with somebody and they're engaging back, I can follow the conversation and figure out when to stop her, or she does a pass off, and then I'm either picking up the SMS text exchange, or more importantly, I want to be able to get on the phone with that prospect. Hey, I'll send them a text back. Hey, this is Joe. You've been speaking with Robin in our office, but I want to go ahead, and I'm the broker of the office, but I'd like to have a conversation, or I'd like to go ahead and understand how I can help you as the broker and the owner of the company directly, or as the lead agent in the office. So they like that. Robin's just one of the assistants we've got here, but we're the realtors. We're the ones who are going to help you get to the finish line with your new home, or selling your new
Okay,
home.
so I gotta ask, because this is like the number one, maybe one of the number one questions we get when we're like out talking to people, which is, can the prospects tell that they're talking to an AI? So in your experience, what has the feedback been from people talking to the AI?
I would say in most cases, they don't know. I've had people who have had 20, 30 conversations going back and forth like Robin is their best friend in the world. And they did not know any better. And like I may have been tied up in a closing or in a meeting or whatever. It was overnight, and they're talking 11:30 at night, and I didn't see it till the morning. And oh my God, I would think they're getting ready to go meet and have coffee.
That's excellent. So maybe we're getting close to the passing the Turing test here, Brendan. That
Close.
that's excellent. Yeah. So I mean, maybe talk to me also a little bit about like, how have you employed it specifically? Like, you were already giving us tips on like when you jump in, but like what kind of things are you looking for in the conversation when you jump in, or when you don't, and like, or when you let conversations play out? Like maybe just like drop a couple of for someone that's thinking about getting started with this thing, like how should they expect to interact?
Right. Well, expectations, are going to be different. I mean, at the end, at the end of the day, we're salespeople. This is just a tool. We still have to do our jobs. This is just really a way to get in the door, to start a conversation. I mean, that Robin validates that we've got a good phone number. So she's starting that SMS exchange. She's doing an introduction. She's figuring out if they need any immediate needs. And I would say, maybe 50% of the people don't respond, or they're wanting to do their searching up front. So, but the ones who do, they immediately tell you they're interested in engaging. And that engagement it's an opening. We're salespeople. Engage with the prospect. Let Robin start it. Figure out for you what information you can get that makes sense. And then Robin will either pass off the conversation to you, or use the technology that's already there, jump in, stop Robin, either pick up the text conversation, introduce yourself by text, and then let them know you're going to give them a quick call. You have a couple real life questions to be able to help whatever the reason is, to help them get qualified for their loan, or to be able to update and better send higher quality listings that are coming through, or for whatever else their need is. The idea is we've got to get to the kitchen table. It's what I call it. And whether that's the physical kitchen table or whether that's actually through a phone call, we've got to have the conversation to qualify. Because if they're a looky-loo, they're wasting your time. You need to know that. If they're a serious prospect and they're in a hurry, we need to know that too. If their time frame is 3 months or 6 months, it doesn't really matter. They just go in the pipeline. They're hot, warm, and cold. But until you actually, Robin's not going to get you to the point to take you to the closing. You're not going to start her up, let her do her thing, and then she's going to tell you when you can just go to closing and pick up your check. That's not what she's about. She's the introduction. She's a way to help get the conversation started and pass it off to you to be able to go ahead and do your job, get them qualified, and figure out what you need to do at the next step in the sales cycle.
Love it. So maybe you could tell us a couple stories of, times when it's worked out really well, like when it's flowed really well from like the early conversations with Robin and then seamlessly onto you. Like, what are some conversations that have been impressive?
There's no doubt. I mean, what's the last couple of years been? It's been a seller's market. So when you get Robin who engages with somebody, and I've got a lead here with a seller who specifically was interested in selling their home and looking for a realtor. So that is, there's nothing better than being able to see that come across your screen and go, holy cow, I'm going to get a new listing. And you can follow up with that individual, jump right in on that text and say, hey, this is Joe. I'm the realtor at the company. And I'd like to give you a quick call because I need to ask you a couple questions regarding your home and figure out when's a good time we could come, introduce ourselves. We need to be able to, we'd like to offer a comparative market analysis. Some other foundational things we need to do in the cycle to be able to tell you more about what your home's worth, how quickly we think we can sell it, blah, blah, blah. So, those have absolutely happened. And even on the buyer side, when you can tell when somebody gets excited and they're enthusiastic, or they say, hey, look, I'm a cash buyer, or I'm fully pre-qualified. They know what they're doing. I need to get out and see some new construction homes. We're just relocating, whatever the situation. I can't, think of there's lots of leads. I get, 50 to 100 leads a month in my relatively small office coming in off the website. So it's a lot of different scenarios, but our conversions are very satisfying, and we definitely see the dollar for value or being with Real Geeks, and don't have no desire to change.
Awesome. Hey, so maybe we take a little like detour off, because Joe, you're doing an awesome job like telling us about like how this thing's working for you. Brendan, I'm a little bit curious, like behind the scenes, like, we're getting these data sets coming in, like we're seeing, customers have conversations. Like, can you give us some insight into what kind of developments happening behind the scenes?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so, in terms of developments and things that are upcoming with GeekAI, right, we're continuing on a monthly basis. We're doing script monitoring where we're looking at, situations where Robin's done really well, where we can learn from that to implement into other, kind of placements within our 12-month cycle. And then similarly, when we're seeing her not succeed, right, we want to learn from that too, so that we can make adjustments to the scripts. So, with any artificial intelligence, you mentioned, passing the Turing test eventually, right? As there's always going to be some kind of stepping stones to get there. So that's the biggest thing that we do on a regular basis, is that consistent monitoring, that consistent kind of grading, judging, if you will, of the script, so that we can continue to improve her process. So that's been a big one for us in terms of upcoming developments. It's really an ongoing development with GeekAI and Robin's success. So what we've seen with that is, throughout the 12-month life cycle of a lead's time with Robin, the longer it goes in that time, the higher success rate she has at getting that engagement. So we're seeing about in the first month, about a 54, 56%, it kind of teeters in that range. But, Joe mentioned beta testing with us. That was last year. And we've actually just this past May hit that 12-month mark for our beta testers. And what we've seen is leads that started early in that cycle, and that they're at the 12, 11, 10-month mark, we're up to about 65, 66% engagement. So we're seeing an extra roughly 10% of leads that, who are not engaging right away. As they go through the process, as they get 24 texts over 12 months, we're getting more and more responses from them. So that's been, I'd say, our biggest
So
development is
maybe to
that
clarify,
long-term growth.
just to make sure that people don't misunderstand, what you're not saying is just let Robin talk to people for 12 months and go on vacation. You're still gonna need to be working hard on
Yes.
these guys. But what you're saying is exposure to Robin over a extended period of time turns people that maybe would have been cold,
Yes.
ghost leads into active leads.
And that's a really good clarifying point, right?
Yeah.
If Robin gets that engagement, she's going to completely go another path with the main objective of, hey, let's get this person to connecting with Joe, to connecting with the agent. Let's get that appointment set. But if they're not engaging, that's where we have this 24 texts over 12-month period, just to help get them to that point so we can, start that conversation about getting the agent involved. So yes, that 10% increase is over the course of that 12 months when they are not engaging. We'll see a more and more likelihood they're going to engage the further we get into that script.
Excellent. Joe, so you have seen interactions with Robin turn prospects into clients, into bookings and appointments. Like, you've
Absolutely.
seen that. Yeah. One of the things you mentioned earlier, which I was kind of curious about, was what percentage of those are buyers versus sellers in your experience?
I would probably say 85 or 90% is going to be on the buying side, at least in my
Mhm.
market. And, while that hasn't been, horrible by any means, the last couple of years have been more of a seller's market. But I have a feeling that that is getting ready to change. And we saw the exact same thing happen in 2006 and 7 and 8. And then, anybody who was paying attention in 2000 and late 7 and 2008 realized it was not sustainable. The market was getting ready to change, and probably February, March of 2008, even though the market was still going nuts, I started changing all my marketing over to the buying side, and I went out and found a ton of investors. And for almost 5 years, from 2008 in October when the market crashed till 2012 when we bottomed, I went on a buying spree. So I really, I don't think we're going to have a crash like we had back then, but I think that there's going to be more buying opportunity. And I know, at least in my market, we've still got an abundance of buyers, and people are still going to have a place to live, and people are still relocating. So I'm using that lead gen on that side. Get a lot of referrals from my customers and investors. So again, I look at sales, and what I do with my business is a cake, and you've got to have a lot of different layers. And sometimes one layer is going to produce more than another in different market environments. Who cares? The end of the day, whether I get 4 or I get 9 closed this month, I just want to be closing. ABC, always be closing, and and keep it rolling. And you'll ride the waves of the market and have a good time, and enjoy it.
I love listening to guys that have been there, done that. It's you're also like perfectly encapsulating that. It's sort of like, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like that Warren Buffett quote of like, when others are fearful, you should not be, essentially. So I love the fact that you're talking about like, hey, I've been here in a market downturn before. This is what I did to capitalize on the situation. So you can always be on the winning side of any market trend. It's awesome to hear.
Well, there's nobody I know who's actively working this business, who's got a website, who wants it to produce. When things get slow, what do? You don't go out and go play tennis. Work on your website. Work on your social media.
Right.
Do things that are going to help that you don't have time when you're really busy. I mean, it's about prioritization. Right now, when I'm too busy to do anything but sell and make money, then I'm going to sell and make money. When I'm not that busy, I'm going to do things that are going to help me get to that position and get to that, do the things that I can't do. So I'm always going to backfill.
Excellent. Love it. So maybe as we start to wrap this up, going forward and think about the future, what role do you expect Robin to play in your business in the next couple of years?
Well, she's going to continue to be doing what she's been doing, but hopefully as she evolves and she gets better and smarter, which is what an AI does, The more data she has, the more experiences and engagement she has, the better she gets at her engagement. So she's going to continue to help me qualify my leads, to help use my time effectively. And at the end of the day, when I look at what my cost per lead, my cost per sale, and my cost of acquiring a customer and converting that customer, I got no better ROI. I can't go to Zillow, I can't go to Realtor.com and come anywhere close. And I don't have those kind of tools that are going to help me qualify a buyer to the next level, or a seller, and engage with them till I can step back in, pick it up, and run with the ball. I mean, it's like starting from the 1 yard line on the opposite end of the field. I'm literally starting at the 20-yard line and getting ready to try to punch it over for a TD. So I'm smiling, but that's all I'm going to do is just keep smiling and keep using
Sounds
Robin.
great.
It's great.
I mean, I don't know what else we can say here. You guys have any closing comments? I mean, that sort of like drove it home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful that you've seen such success with this new product. So we're happy to be able to help you see even more success than you've been seeing already.
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's like anything else. It's got to continue to evolve. There's definitely things I think that we can all do, and I think we'll continue to evolve the system. And anything I can do to be part of that or give this type of feedback and other feedback, I want to be part of it because it's an asset to my business, and it gives me a better ROI. And that's why I do this.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so
All
much
right.
for joining us today and sharing your experience. We definitely appreciate it. Brendan, thanks for dropping the tidbits on us. And we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. All right. You guys take care. Thanks for having me.
All right.